Okay,
Um,
cool.
let's do this. Well, thanks so much for jumping on this. By the way, we appreciate you. Must be. Oh, where are you in New York at the moment? Where are you coming from?
Yeah, I'm actually in upstate New York in Rochester. So yeah, no problem though.
Coolio, coolio. Well, I just thought that we could start with a little. I guess if you were to introduce yourself to those who might not know you yet, because obviously we got quite excited by the recent string of singles that you put out, starting with "Famous in California" and so on. But how would you, I guess, describe yourself to those who might not know you?
Right, yeah. So I'm Ronnie Watts. I'm 19 years old, and I would call myself a singer-songwriter. Yeah, I'm from Rochester, New York, and my thing is all about heartbreak pop. So I really like the juxtaposition between, something sad and something happy, like pop music. So I love being able to dance to really sad songs or like cry to really happy ones. I love that juxtaposition. And so that's definitely what I go by when I'm doing music is just kind of the phrase heartbreak pop.
Right, and it definitely shows through with these last three songs, especially. And then going back, and maybe this is a good segue into when did you? Because we could find material starting from 2016 onwards ish out there. Is that when you started putting out music, or did you even start earlier than that?
Well, it's actually kind of funny. I released this song back probably when I was like 8 years old.
Wow.
So that might be out there somewhere. My dad is a part-time musician, so I just recorded with him in our basement, and so that kind of happens. I've been writing my entire life, really, and doing music my entire life, and that's a big part has to do with just being surrounded by music with my dad being a musician. But yeah, I did release that little EP back in 2016, which we definitely, when I signed to my management, that was a discussion if we wanted to keep that up there because it's definitely more my earlier stuff. But I wanted to keep that there I think it's fun to look at and show my growth for sure. So, yeah.
Right. And how would you, because there's, at least to us here listening through your discography so far, there's kind of a big leap between, say, the I guess the pre-Wizard era, where you had this EP and a few other joints here and there, and then which were very stripped down acoustic kind of singer songwriter, like you were describing it, without kind of sounds of the more I guess electric or synthetic production that you might find in these recent singles. Was that something that came consciously? Do you always write your material in that way, where you kind of know where it's gonna end up with, or do you sort of surround yourself with people and collaborators who take you somewhere that might then enrich the song with the instrumentation that way?
Yeah, so all of my songs I write them by myself, usually just either on guitar or piano.
Mhm.
So all my recent songs that I've written, they started in kind of like the same form that you hear in my earlier stuff. It's just now, and I kind of know the direction I want to take my songs, and I wanted to take a leap with the production in my music, and I really love Lord and the 1975 and wanted to have those more alternative elements in my music.
Mhm.
So luckily I got in touch with some really cool producers, and I was in New York City in March working with this producer, Harper James, who's just awesome and could really see my vision and definitely added so much into the song. So yeah, that definitely helps. So I guess to answer your question, I write them acoustically, but I kind of know where I want them to go and want them to be bigger, but that's also with the help later with producers and stuff like that.
Right. What we found as well across your material is this timelessness about your songs. We felt like they're just so incredibly profound in a way that they could sort of work in any era. You could place them. I guess in any decade that it would sort of still be as effective. Especially these last three we found incredibly impactful. So we wondered, and it's obviously huge props and kudos to you for coming out with such a refined and distilled material already at this young age. I'm assuming you still are.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Of course. Yeah, no, we really got taken aback by these, so we wanted to reach out. And so how, I guess, by virtue of your management deal now with ZARD and so on, are you over in the UK at all, or are you sort of still covering from the USA?
Yeah, I'm mostly in the US. I took a trip to London in November of 2019, yeah. which was just quite an experience because I've never even traveled like on a plane by myself before, let alone be in a different country by myself. So it was definitely a crazy experience, and just like doing that kind of by myself and just kind of navigating all of that was really interesting. But yeah, I love London so much, and it's nice that I get to take trips there sometimes.
Of course, yeah. And how is it? I mean, I guess it's unavoidable this day and age. How has it been now these past 4 or 5 months sheltering in place? I'm guessing you've done that from the East Coast while at the same time putting out these singles. How has it been overall?
Well, it was interesting because I was in New York City when COVID hit here, and it was like New York City is the first place that it hit too. So when I arrived in New York, it didn't seem like a big thing. And then as the weeks went on, it got really bad. And when people started getting scared, I kind of left the 13th, which was when I feel like Friday the 13th was when everything went like really south. Right. So I got to Penn Station. It was just absolutely insane. It was just like, I've never seen it like that. People were running to get to the train. It was crazy. But being home, it's honestly been super hard for me creatively to write. I think I'm really inspired by other people and other experiences, and I'm just like really charged by other people. So not having that and kind of just like being stuck in my room is definitely been a challenge to create music. I wish I could just like be one of those people that hunker down and just, pumps out a billion songs, but that definitely hasn't been the case for me.
Sure. So I'm guessing then the last 3 songs, or anything from, and we're going to talk about it hopefully in a second, about your EP, was that written before the big crisis? I'm assuming then, or did you?
Yeah. Right. All the songs were written before COVID hit. Most of them were written last summer or last winter. Gotcha. And then as far as like production and that stuff goes, we've been working on that remotely with producers. So that's still going, and I'm still able to do that.
Right, of course. Yeah, that's the wonders of digital technology. And in terms of on the topic of trying and cope and battle with this, how I understand you took part in the Together at Home live stream with Global Citizens in April. Is that right?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
What was that experience?
What was that?
How was that experience like for you?
It was really cool. It felt nice to be like a part of something and really spread the word, because that was earlier on when people, I feel like, didn't fully understand what was happening and definitely was freaked out, and there were so many unknowns at that point. So it was really cool to be a part of that, and I shared some songs and played Famous in California acoustically. So it was really cool, and I'm definitely glad I got to do that.
Right. And I'm guessing too, you had to get creative with, say, how are you calling them, official home videos, or something of the like, which you did for Break Your Heart, and I guess the lyric video too. Was that fully DIY? How was that experience for you to kind of take
that was really, really fun. I was expecting to be shooting the music video for Break Your Heart in New York City, and it was supposed to be like a huge production. We were supposed to go full out for that, and obviously that couldn't happen. So it was actually really fun to kind of push myself creatively like that. For the lyrics video, we actually connected my phone to a selfie stick, and
Right.
we took this thing off of my window, and I had my dad basically holding the selfie stick outside the window to get that outside shot of my house. So it was definitely very DIY, and same for the music video itself. I basically I'm like, okay, well, I can't go anywhere, so we just kind of have to utilize every room in my house. So it was really cool, and also just to kind of like play more of a character was kind of cool and less embarrassing for me because no one was watching. I just used a tripod, and I didn't have to worry about other people watching me do that.
Well, it came out great. Would you have had actual live touring plans had this not happened, or did you have to postpone anything that you had sort of cooking up for the summer or the spring? That
well, so we definitely had stuff planned, but nothing was set in stone yet. So kind of in 2020 as being like a big leap for me. We wanted to go on probably 2 tours and definitely like go out and do more press stuff out in like New York and LA. So it's supposed to be a really exciting year. But I guess that'll be postponed until a later date. But yeah, so I guess the good part about that is it gives us more time to focus on getting the EP all set. But yeah, it was definitely supposed to be a more exciting year for me.
Sure, yeah. And speaking of the EP, so I'm guessing it's going to embed the 3 previously released singles. What's the shape of it? When is it slated to drop? Exactly, can you reveal any of that? What's the plan for the actual EP to hit the stores?
Right. So yeah, Sad Summer is definitely going to be on the EP. And that definitely hints at the story itself. So as I said earlier, I wrote basically all the songs last year, all in 2019. And it's very personal to me and definitely tells the story of what I went through last year. Definitely was very heartbroken, and basically the whole story behind it is that I was dating this guy, seemed super in love, and I went to visit him, took a train down to visit him, and he didn't pick me up from the train station, and he had met someone else, and that was basically it. So that's kind of where everything is based off around that, and basically that kind of the whole story is told through the EP.
Right. Oh, very interesting. So there's an actual. How long will it be? Do you know yet? How many songs in it?
It's going to be 6 songs.
Okay. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, I'm really.
Is it going to be September? I read somewhere. Does that still hold?
Yep, September.
Very cool. And while we're on the topic of, I really wanted to pick your brain on this even before the interview and brainstorming. On the topic of, I guess, putting out content and music in general, be it in the fashion of like actual formats such as singles, EPs, LPs, call it what you want, or just some form of content, multimedia, video, or I caught some of your, which I thought were quite endearing, when you explain, I guess, your songs and flesh them out for
yeah.
How do you view, and I guess also in light, I don't know if you saw that last week, Spotify CEO coming out and stating that artists can't just wait for creativity to hit. They just need to sort of churn out and dish out as much content as possible. How do you view that comment, I guess, in the frame of what you're doing, but also how you sort of consume content yourself, being, I guess, of the younger generation? What are your thoughts about it? I'm really curious.
I mean, well, for me, I just want to connect with the people following me and listening to me as much as possible. So I just kind of do like what I enjoy, and that kind of just works for me. Like, I like making those videos, kind of explaining things, and even if it only helps like a couple of people, it's still cool that I get it. If I get a message saying like, "Oh, now I get to play this song," like, thank you so much. So yeah, I don't know. That's just kind of fun for me. Or like doing these music videos or photo shoots to post on Instagram. Like, I just enjoy doing it. So it's kind of just like, I don't know. We just think of these ideas because it's something I want to do. And I don't know. I don't feel it as a pressure of like, oh, we need to get stuff out there or we need to release music. It's more just like, I want to release music, or I want to release this video, or I want to go live right now, just because I want to connect with the people following me. So yeah, that's basically it.
No, that makes total sense, and I wonder if you even look at the music industry as an actual siloed industry in and of itself, or if you view it more in, I guess, an embedded creative industries hodgepodge where, you know, sort of any content will do, and it's sort of all interconnected, and everything feeds kind of upon the previous piece of content and so on. Or do you yourself have an understanding of the music industry as an actual, you know, thing that's isolated and autonomous?
Right. Yeah. When I first kind of got into the music industry, probably when I started like working with people in the business more, probably when I was 16 or 17, I kind of realized that it's a business and
Right.
It's not just like creating stuff and doing that thing, which is definitely more my side of everything. But I was super shocked to kind of realize that, no, this is probably 80% business and 20% creative, which was definitely like a big realization for me. But yeah, so I'm trying to think. Sorry.
No, you're good.
So yeah, but basically we have when I signed to my management and label, we have the next, 3 years planned out. It was super weird. My manager was already talking about the Grammys, and I'm like, geez, I don't even have an album out yet. So it's, even though I say, like, oh, I want to do this or that because I want to, we also do totally have a plan as far as music goes. We've known, when I released Famous in California, we had for the past probably 8 months, we were like, we need to release a ballad. And I didn't want to just write a ballad to write a ballad. It's something that kind of came naturally. And when I wrote it, I didn't even know that I was going to release it. I kind of just wrote it because that's just what felt right to me. And that ended up being the ballad that we released. So it's kind of like that. And we knew that we wanted to release an EP in 2020 and hopefully an album sometime next year or soon the year after. So yeah, I guess it's kind of just a little bit of both, a little bit of creative and a little bit of business. And it's super hard to balance the two sometimes, but I feel like I'm getting a hold of it more now.
Right. Yeah, no, that makes sense as well, coming from, I guess, being myself too on the tail end, but, being digital natives as we are, and just being used to consume and produce content on a daily basis, it's almost like it becomes a second nature. But that's really cool, and also interesting to hear about potential album and the Grammy talk too already. I mean, no one jinx it, but the talent is definitely there. I can see why your camp is excited about you, because we listen to a lot of music too, and yours definitely stood out. There's something timeless about it, and the way, if we want to get specific, Break Your Heart, the way you sort of tease, there's like that pre-chorus that one thinks it's the chorus, and then there's like post-chorus, which is the actual chorus, where everything opens up, and it's just so majestic that it's just a stunner. Every time that we hear that, it's something that just leaves a mark for sure. And so it's not obvious. It's very simple and impactful, like I said, but at the same time, it's got these layers and question marks. So again, kudos and props to you. Really, really good songs.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
No probs. Wanted to ask you something about, which I'm assuming you're a user of, TikTok, the TikToks of this world, Reels, Instagram Reels. What are your thoughts on them? Do they have a place in the music industry before they get banned? Are they banned? Is TikTok banned in the USA yet?
Yeah, I love TikTok so much. I think TikTok has made such an impact on pop music. I feel like every song that's on the radio right now is also trending on TikTok, and I totally think that's a correlation. I've seen like so many artists like Doja Cat, like she stems from TikTok, I feel like. And yeah, I hope there's a way that I can maybe fit my music in there somewhere. But I totally think also just the way that music spreads through there, like more alternative music is being found on TikTok, and it somehow becomes popular and everyone's listening to it, which is so cool. I think it's definitely expanded my music library for sure. And yeah, I think it totally has had a huge impact on music.
I agree, and I was reading not too long ago that somebody was sort of actually crunching the numbers, and the soaring amount of just like actual records that made it onto the official, you know, whatever currency is we're using, Billboard or whatever chart, that somehow had, you know, either virality or just high numbers on TikTok was so high and so big that, you know, one cannot avoid it anymore. So like you were speaking about correlation and I guess spillover effects and all of that, it's super interesting. Like you said too, with more underground and I guess niche music too, which somehow shows the potential of it if it's exposed to a wider audience. And you know, those clips that get used left and right from all, you know, kinds of people, all walks of life. It's a phenomenal dynamic. I love it. I love it.
Totally, I agree.
And you also spoke about quickly your taste and finding new artists and music discovery. What is exciting you at the moment? What are you listening to right now? Anything that you want to highlight?
Oh geez. Well, there's a more new band that's coming up right now who I love called Laundry Day. They're called Laundry Day. I think they're so cool. They're 18-year-old guys from New York City. And I know my friend talked about them a couple years ago, and they were playing in some like basically basement somewhere. And they were just opening up for the 1975 in Claro last year. So they're definitely on the rise, and I totally love their music. And their lyrics are just totally out of this world, and I feel like super relatable for people just growing up. So yeah, I love them, and I think they're great.
Very cool. We'll definitely check them out.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. I think that was most of what we were curious about. Is there anything you'd like to mention for the record or plug or, you know, highlight at all from your end?
I feel like we've covered a lot. There's nothing that's sticking out for me really.
Just keep up the great work then. It's we love it and look forward to the EP and hopefully the record next year and some live shows once they are permitted and we're in the world. So yeah. I got you from Europe. It's the situation a little better here. We are starting to see like some resemblance of shows here and there. The UK is trying something out, Central Europe as well, but hopefully the USA will be on the mend soon. And until then, we've got the magic of the streaming world that will bring us your tune. So, Ronnie, thank you so much again for jumping on this.
Thank you so much for reaching out. It means a lot, and thank you for the kind words as well.